Do you know, as at the time of making this video, no Western country has sent a condolence message to the family of late Muhammad Buhari or even the country at large?
The president I saw was almost completely mended.
There is no Buhari. Jubril was there. The man you have now in Asorot is from Niger Republic. It is not Buhari.
Let us also not forget that in the year 2017, when Queen of England was still alive, during the period that Buhari was very sick, the Queen of England tweeted her condolence to the family of Buhari and to Nigeria, but was deleted after a few minutes from Twitter, now known as X. Could it be that what is being buried or paraded in Daura is just an empty coffin? The claim that Muhammad Buhari, Nigerian former president, had died and was replaced by body double named Jubril from Sudan was one of the news that Nigerians may never easily take off from their hearts, because it's very hard to tell if it's a fiction or an actual fact. And in this video, we are going to be addressing the issue, tackling it right from the roots of who made it spread like wildfire and the possible agendas behind such news. Because the former president is dead now, yet on Twitter, someone said this. Let us observe whether the global leaders, primarily from the Western world, will acknowledge the first death of Buhari, as they are aware that Buhari passed away since 2017. Meanwhile, check the lines on Buhari's hand and also check his ears. Feel free to do your own research. Words like this can only mean one thing, and that is that this wasn't a joke on the street or some meme on social media. It was a serious belief pushed by people with real influence, and indeed, it spread like wildfire. In this video, we are not just going to be dismissing Jubril of Sudan story as nonsense. We are going to be tracing where it all started, what the government said and what they didn't say, and most importantly, what this kind of narrative tells about the country we live in. The story didn't just start with someone waking up and claiming Buhari had died. It started with something real, which was his prolonged medical absence from the country he was leading yet at the time. In early 2017, President Muhammad Buhari left Nigeria for United Kingdom on what was described as routine medical checkup. But guess what? Weeks passed and his medical checkup refused to end. Then it turned into months. The former president had stayed away from his country for 103 days, with little to no official update about his condition for his citizens. There were no videos, no photographs, no proof of life. The body of the Nigerian presidency, who were supposed to be giving people some kind of clarity, maintained a lack of communication, which didn't help matters. Because the more they stayed silent, the more suspicious people became. When a sitting president disappears from the public view for over 3 months without clearly telling the citizens what he's suffering from, what do you expect in a country already built on broken trust? By the time Buhari returned to Nigeria in August 2017, people were already speculating his appearance has changed, he had visibly lost weight, he walked slower, he spoke with softer tone. He looked like a man who had been through war. His body barely survived. But instead of honest explanation, Nigerians were met with vague statements like he's feeling better or he's recharging. As usual, the government wanted to move on like nothing happened, but the people couldn't. That's when the rumors started creeping in. First quietly in conversation, then more boldly in videos and online posts. But the first time the term Jubril from Sudan was mentioned in public space was by Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB. He took already existing doubt and turned it into a structured conspiracy. In 2018, he released a video claiming that the real Buhari had died in UK hospital and that a Sudanese body double had been brought in to replace him, allegedly after undergoing plastic surgery to mimic Buhari's face, voice and mannerism. It sounded ridiculous, but Nigerians listened, and Kanu didn't stop there. He gave it a structure. He brought out supposed proof that the new Buhari had a different hair shape, that he wrote with left hand instead of the right hand, that he refused to remove his cap in public because his head shape was a different one, that his accent had changed, that he no longer called certain people by name like he used to. He even claimed that the imposter couldn't speak Fufude, which was the language of Buhari's native Fulani people. Each point taken individually seemed hard to ignore, but it was being pushed to a population already reeling from poverty, insecurity, disappointment, and so it started to make sense to many, especially among Buhari's critics and people from the southeast, where Kanu's voice had stronghold influence. This situation became more complicated because the presidency failed to address these claims directly for months, and by the time they eventually responded, the lie had traveled halfway around the country. Instead of issuing a strong counter-narrative about the rumor early, the government acted like it was too silly to respond to. But this was no longer a meme. It had become a national debate. People would gather in barber shops, market stalls, and beer parlors asking the same question: is this really Buhari? At this point, one of the insiders who knows how damaging these rumors had become was Femi Adesina, Buhari's longtime media advisor. In his book titled Working with Buhari, Reflection of a Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, from 2015 to 2023, Adesina finally addressing the conspiracy, and he didn't hold back. He called the entire clone theory absurd and exposed how ridiculous it was from his direct day-to-day experience with the president. According to him, the so-called Jubril from Sudan knew too much, like intimate, personal, real-time information that an impersonator could never have actually known. He gave a particular example that stood out. During a meeting, President Buhari, or Jubril according to the believers, looked at Femi Adesina and commented on his new outfit, being one he had not worn publicly before. Then he called him by name and laughed with him as usual, and spoke with the familiarity of someone who had known him for years. Adesina made it clear that the foreign clone, no matter how well trained, could never have picked up those habits, mannerism, and spontaneous familiarity that Buhari carried in his private engagement with him. But Adesina also admitted something important. He noted that the rumor gained traction because the government underestimated it as usual. They treated it like a social media joke that didn't deserve official energy, and by the time they understood the reach and seriousness of it, it had already infected the public space. Millions had heard it, and thousands had believed in it. Eventually, former President Buhari himself broke his silence. During his 80th birthday documentary, aired in the late 2022, the president finally addressing the issue on camera that it wasn't funny and that it was the work of the mischief makers who wanted to distract attention from the main issues. He didn't even seem angry, but his tone was enough to tell Nigerians that he found the whole saga annoying, ridiculous, and a deliberate distraction from real governance problem. He wanted it on record that he had the rumors and rejected them. But for many Nigerians, that documentary came too late. By then, the story had become part of political folklore. Buhari's long absence, paired with poor communication and rising distrust, had given the rumor everything it needed to thrive. So even when the president finally denied it with his own mouth, the denier didn't silence everyone. That's how deep the damage has gone already. Then talking about the real thing, who is Jubril? In the light of this, you are probably asking, who then is Jubril of Sudan? Well, I hate to break it to you that the simple answer to this question is no one. There is no credible record, not in Sudan, not in Nigeria, not anywhere, of a man named Jubril Aminu al-Sudani, who was trained to replace Muhammad Buhari. There is no passport, no school record, no immigration entry, photographs, no evidence. Not a single piece of verified documentation has ever surfaced to support the claim that someone from Sudan was hired, surgically altered, and flown to Nigeria to pose as the president. It was a conspiracy theory, not a fact. A product of suspicion, silence, and imagination that was mixed with real frustration from citizens who were tired of feeling deceived and left out of nation truth. So yes, the theory may have felt believable to some people because it was pushed in time of national confusion. Yes, Nnamdi Kanu gave it structure and name, which made it sound convincing. But not a single reputable investigation, fast check, or official record has ever confirmed the existence of this so-called Jubril of Sudan. Even high-level insiders like Femi Adesina, who worked side by side with Buhari for 8 years, described this as absurd. This is a man who interacted with the former president privately, daily, even off camera. And if anyone could tell whether Buhari had been swapped for a stranger, it was people like him. And his account makes it clear. There was no clone, no body double, no impersonator. At its core, the Jubril of Sudan story wasn't just about Buhari. It was about a country that no longer trusts its leaders. And we cannot blame them for that. It was about a nation where government silence leaves space for lies to thrive, and where citizens would rather believe in dramatic rumor than accept a disappointing truth like the one in this video. So, was there ever Jubril from Sudan? No, there was none. And it's very possible that this wouldn't be the last time a ridiculous lie as grave as this would be believed by millions of Nigerians, because the government keeps giving the masses a reason to doubt their capability of leading them to a better future. So after watching this video, do you still believe there is a Jubril in Sudan who played the role of Buhari for over 4 years in office? Drop your comments. And if you love the truth and want to be part of the truth, do like, subscribe and share. See you in our next upload. Bye for now.